But this agreement exclusively serves Netanyahu. It gives him precisely the lifeline he needs to pivot into the elections without looking like a loser. It achieves absolutely nothing for the Lebanese people. So now if Israel comes and kills civilians in Lebanon, it will say, well, the Lebanese government allowed us. You are a walking funeral. You are a dead man walking. Government and presidency. There is no remedy for stupidity. And here I'm addressing the Lebanese authorities. You entered into an agreement and made a massive strategic move. A move you could have used as the ultimate leverage. A move where you could have extracted a heavy price at every single turn. Sure, the Americans pressured you, but you were supposed to negotiate on fundamental premise that you weren't defeated, you weren't in a rush, and you held the high cards. Even if you didn't want to brandish them, those cards were already on the table. It was common knowledge that Washington and Iran are negotiating. It was already obvious that the Israeli military couldn't exploit a flow in South Lebanon, and they couldn't even hold a single stable position. You had an immense amount of strategic leverage. Instead, you committed to a track, and on this track, you rushed headlong over the cliff. In so many instances, you could have simply said, let's hold these negotiations. And of course, the Americans would have been frustrated, and it's very logical that they would be frustrated. But this was for the benefit of the Lebanese people. We all know that this current US administration, by the admission of Americans themselves, is operating under immense influence, standing at its absolute peak from the Zionist lobby. Yet at the same time, it's very exposed. We know exactly how deeply this administration is swayed by the lobby, but that is a political reality that is about to change. America is changing. The Lebanese authorities saw that the situation in Lebanon was unstable. The Israelis were unstable. This is why, for them, it was unstable. Israel failed in the south 100%. So the Lebanese authorities panicked, assuming that the sole political cover for their project is America, thus Israel. There is no other shield for their project, and that shield isn't even guaranteed. Why? Because America has other interest in this region. And by the way, this is very clear to them and to everybody, because once America's interest was to announce that Iran was the reason for the ceasefire in Lebanon, it did. But this agreement exclusively serves Netanyahu. It gives him precisely the lifeline he needs to pivot into the elections without looking like a loser. It achieves absolutely nothing for the Lebanese people. The Lebanese authorities negotiated back and forth and conceded the first time, the second time, the third time, and what did they actually bring home? They returned home a volatile agreement allowing Israel to stay in South Lebanon, allowing Israel the freedom of action in Lebanon. So now if Israel comes and kills civilians in Lebanon, it will say, well, the Lebanese government allowed us. The Lebanese authorities signed on this. This is the most dangerous agreement that this political elite in Lebanon has ever made. They are allowing Israel to kill the Lebanese population. And what's worse is that there's a clause in this agreement that stops Lebanon from taking Israel into court for its crime. This kind of agreement, honestly, again, this only serves Netanyahu, and it serves his political career and the elections that he has in a few months. What is the Lebanese authority going to tell the Lebanese public now? Are they going to tell them that they achieved a historic victory? If every single paid influencer lines up until tomorrow morning to spin this narrative and tell the people that what you did was right, and it won't even fly, it won't pass. More than half of this country, Lebanon, is unwilling to take the reckless risks that you are taking. More than half of the country refuses to buy into this gamble. And the Americans aren't willing to bankroll you any further. The US has interest in Lebanon, but if you stick to this agreement, you will utterly be incapable of securing the American interest. Yet, you managed to secure Netanyahu's interest perfectly. You have proven to be a state incapable of guaranteeing America's security and interest in Lebanon. So you are a state that is unable to secure the interest of the people who put you in power in Lebanon. Therefore, the natural logic of things dictates that Washington will replace you rapidly. You are simply too weak to protect their assets. What actually secures America's interest is a strong agreement, one that you were too weak to bring home to the Lebanese people. The Lebanese people don't have a problem with the Americans, not with the American public, nor with the American culture. They have a problem with American foreign policy that blindly puts Israel first. But they have no issue with American people, the US economy, or Western orientation. This is not the struggle of the Lebanese people. For you to come along and act like a right-wing regime, behaving exactly like Netanyahu's government inside Israel toward a fundamental component of your own people is unacceptable. You are waiving their right to demand justice for the blood that was shed. You are waiving the right to liberate their occupied land. You are stripping away their every point of strength and leverage. Look what the intelligence agencies have done to them. You are signing away the foundational rights that a state is built to protect. You threw it all in dirt. This spinelessness makes you too weak to secure America's interest in Lebanon. I'm repeating myself several times because this is very important. And this is exactly what will trigger your collapse. Quite frankly, you are a walking funeral. You are a dead man walking, government and presidency. But let's not stop here. Let's look at it from a broader picture and what the goal really is. If you really think this betrayal will open the door to a civil war, it's not going to happen. The resistance will not give Israel this gift that you are looking for. Even Channel 13 in Israel yesterday said Israel's plan is to divide Lebanon and plunge it into a civil war to force the Lebanese government to confront Hezbollah militarily. But the truth is, you are too weak. You are entirely toothless. Honestly speaking, the army is not with you. The resistance is not with you. What are you relying on? On population to defend you? That reality doesn't exist anymore in Lebanon. And if you think the elite who backed you out of pure self-interest will step up, this will not happen. Forget about it. Whether they are in the Gulf or America, those people do not fight. They flee at the first sign of trouble. What did the Lebanese government do? The Lebanese government abandoned Turkey, abandoned Iran, and a massive chunk of the Arab depth just to save Netanyahu's political future, sacrificing themselves. Why? Because today, in the wake of this agreement, you are too weak to protect yourself and the interest of the people who put you in power in Lebanon. If you are looking toward the future, genuinely believing that this agreement will last or hold up, you are delusional. Tomorrow, when the broader US-Iran negotiation conclude after the 60-day period, for example, if Israel bombed a city in Lebanon and Iran decided to close the Strait of Hormuz, or if the resistance decided to heavily shell the Israeli forces who you gave them the right to remain on Lebanese soil, what are you going to do? Nothing. You don't have any power. That's why I called you toothless and spineless. At the end, where does true legitimacy lie? With the land or with the state? With the land or with the regime? With the people or with the ruling authority? The Lebanese authorities wrote down their execution order with their own hands. Look at it in any way you want, even if you wanted to view yourselves strictly as mercenaries. Just pure mercenaries, you could have negotiated a better price. If you want to look at yourselves as imperialist lackeys serving a dominant superpower, as tools of foreign hegemony in Lebanon, the verdict remains the same. You are now too weak to even secure America's interest here. And that's the end of the line. Dead man walking. You are a dead man walking.